I could start our next story with a knock-knock joke, but I won't, as it will probably be met with silence. Because this story is about Japan. The East Asian nation is turning into a ghost town. You already know that its population is shrinking. It fell by 500,000 last year. Deaths are rising while birth rates are sinking. And this has bred a new problem. The island nation is now home to millions of vacant houses. They sit empty and unlit in suburbs and rural areas alike, surrounded by overgrown, unkempt gardens. And there's about 11 million of them. The situation is so bad that the government has stepped in. But now these antique homes have a niche clientele. They have found their place in the luxury market. Here's a report.
Who wouldn't like to live in an antique Japanese home? Especially if it's being sold for a few $1,000s. But here's the catch. It may have a terrible rot. Its roof could collapse at any moment. And it's probably under attack by unruly weeds. We're talking about the island nation's abandoned empty houses. And the Japanese have a name for them. They're known as Akiya. And now they've become the country's newest problem. Because a housing crisis is haunting Japan, turning it into a ghost town much faster. They already have a demographic crisis. Their population fell for the 12th consecutive year. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said if this continues, Japan will disappear. It has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, but also one of the highest life expectancies. And last year, twice as many people died as were born. So now, millions of houses are vacant. Japan has a glut of unclaimed properties. The most recent government data is from 5 years ago. It reported 8 million vacant homes across the country. That's about 14% of their overall housing stock. But experts say this number has drastically increased. Now it stands at 11 million. And in the next decade, over 30% of all houses in Japan could be empty. The population crisis definitely plays a role here, but there are other reasons for this too. There is a valuation problem. Houses in Japan decrease in value over time. Eventually, they're worthless. Only the land retains value. So owners don't want to maintain an aging house. There is little incentive. There is an inheritance problem too. Homes are being abandoned by the heirs of previous owners. And some homeowners die without ever naming an inheritor. Others leave the properties to relatives who refuse to sell simply out of respect for the elders. And while the Akiya continue to wither away, they don't suffer in silence. They are potentially hazardous and prone to collapsing. Not to mention, they also mar the scenery. But experts say they're also threatening the emotional health of Japan, as they've sparked numerous family disputes. But now authorities are stepping up. Consultants are helping squabbling families, and the government is also giving these homes a push. They're subsidizing demolitions, collecting neighborhood reports on maintenance, holding awareness programs, and allowing local authorities to raise property taxes on Akiya. They're also compiling listings of vacant houses, calling them Akiya banks, due to which these abandoned homes have found a new love. They've caught the eye of foreign clients who appreciate Japanese homes like its residents can't. And now these homes have become luxury properties. International buyers are snapping them up. They want to preserve the cultural integrity of Japan's antique homes, and they're buying them for tens of thousands of dollars. Akiyas are being renovated. Sometimes they become homes to new families. Other times, they're Airbnb rentals, because one person's decrepit can be another's cultural uniqueness.